Hello everybody! Today we are going to be making some poppy seed rolls. This is an advanced yeast bread because of all of the kneading and shaping that needs to go into it, and our slashing and topping techniques today. But with this demo video, hopefully you'll be able to manage it perfectly. So we're going to be starting with our mise en place here. We've got 4½ cups all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, and a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar. We've also got 1½ cups lukewarm milk. You don't want it to be too hot, you want it to be just above room temperature. So into our mixing bowl, we're going to be adding our dry ingredients. So that's our flour, our yeast, our salt, and our sugar. Now the sugar is an important part here because it helps to feed the yeast. And that yeast, remember, we're activating it when we add our liquids in. So we're going to give our dry ingredients a good stir until we see that they are fully incorporated, and then we're going to make a well in the center. We make this well in the center so it makes it easier to hydrate our dry ingredients, increasing the surface area. So pour in your liquid ingredients, which is going to be the butter and the milk. I chose to make this dairy-free today, so I used almond milk and a vegan butter, but use whatever you have in your home that is easily accessible to you. So stir that until essentially you can't stir in the mixing bowl anymore. Once you can no longer stir in the mixing bowl, you're going to turn that out onto a lightly floured work surface. I'm going to be kneading on my countertop today, so I probably put down about 1/4 cup of flour onto the countertop, and we're going to knead for about 10 minutes. It's going to feel long, but you've got to do that full 10 minutes in order to develop the right consistency of the dough. So remember, kneading here is we're going to be using the heel of our hand and pushing down and stretching, folding it over itself, and really we are trying our best to develop gluten matrices. And the more we knead, the more those gluten strands are going to tangle together to give our bread that structure that we need so it will rise and hold its shape. After those 10 minutes of kneading are up, the dough is going to be smooth and silky like this. Keep kneading until you have a consistency like this, where it's not sticky to the touch, it holds its shape and it has a smooth appearance. Once your dough looks like mine, place it back into a bowl and you want to cover it, either with the lid, cling film, or a damp towel. Now let this guy rise for 1 hour just right on your countertop, and it should double in size. Once it's doubled in size like this, punch that dough out, and we're once again going to return it to a floured countertop. My dough was really quite sticky after its first proving time, so I kneaded it for about 2 more minutes with a little bit of flour. One of the issues with using measurements by cup rather than by mass is it's very humid outside. It's going to affect your consistency of dough, so when we're using cups we just have to be more mindful of the desired outcome we want, which is not a sticky dough like that. So I kneaded it, folding it over itself, squishing it down, folding it back until it once again is a smooth, silky dough. So once you're satisfied with your dough, we're going to begin to shape our rolls. We're going to do that by cutting our dough ball into 8 equal pieces, as equal as you can make them. You don't need to pull out your measuring scale or anything fancy like that. Just give it an eyeball. I cut mine into 8 pieces. If you want your dough, if you want your rolls a little bit smaller, cut them into maybe 10 pieces or 12 pieces. 8 gives you a roll about the size of like a hamburger bun. But after we've cut, we're going to shape. We're going to roll it between our hands and then use some of our advanced bread techniques, but on a much smaller scale, to create a smooth, uniform surface. We're going to start by tucking some of the top part underneath the ball itself, placing it down, tucking, and then spinning to create a super nice spherical shape. Once you've got all of your dough balls on there, we're going to do a second proof time. This time, we still need them to be covered, but this time we're going to use some plastic bags if you've got them in your home. I had 2 plastic grocery bags, which were really perfect for the cookie sheet size I had, because sometimes cling wrap, if you're trying to do it on a pan this wide, is really difficult to use. But if you don't have plastic grocery bags, cling wrap will work great. You don't want to use a damp towel this time, because the rolls are going to be touching the towel and they'll stick to it, and that will just ruin the top of your dough balls. So again, either use a plastic bag or cling wrap. So after our second proof time, we're going to prepare our topping. So we're going to do that by just simply brushing the top of each bun with a little bit of water. That's just to get the seeds to adhere to it the best they can, and to generously sprinkle the top of your buns with some poppy seeds. My poppy seeds were kind of old, so they're really clumpy in there. So give it a good shake and then a re-sprinkle. And then after you do all of that, we're going to slash the top of each bun. So once again, you're going to grab the sharpest knife you can that's in your kitchen and just make a big X on the top of each bun, going between 1/8 and 1/4 inch deep into the bun. Repeat onto every single bun, and then we're going to start baking. These buns are going to bake at 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. My buns took the full 25, so just keep an eye on them and watch for them to develop a soft golden brown color. They'll be golden brown on the bottom first, but just keep an eye on them. And here are my finished buns. They're super delicious, very soft on the inside. I can't wait to see how you guys do with this recipe.